Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our information session focused on training education. I want you to, in the chat box, please post where you are joining us from. We are joining from Pretoria, and we have been traveling all over, as you have seen in our loop, to Eastern Cape. We have been to Bloemfontein, Polokwane. So it was really nice to engage with the members, and we look forward to seeing some of the other members in other provinces as well. We are hosting this in a digital format today just to accommodate everyone to be able to attend, and it is an important subject matter for the MFSA and our members. So we always motivate our members to complete and submit their WSPs to the Bank SETA in order to train their staff and get access to the funding that's available by Bank SETA. So today we have Sean Starr here from the Bank SETA to explain to you the registration process as an employer with Bank SETA and how to submit your workplace skills plan. And then we have a service provider who can actually assist you to complete and submit your WSP. We also have a BSI, Business Skills Institute, to give us an overview of the training courses that they have to offer. So we have a short program, but important information to share. So we hope that you enjoy the session. And afterwards, we will also have a survey for you to complete. So I'm not going to delay the program. Sean, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today. Our members are familiar with you, and we really look forward to an engaging presentation from your side as you share the success stories from the Bank SETA. So Sean, welcome to you. Let me just see. Sean, can you hear us?
Hi, Sine. I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you very much for the introduction.
Good morning, Sean. Thank you for joining us. You are welcome to proceed with your presentation today. Are you screen sharing yet, Sean?
Okay.
There we go.
Is it visible on your side?
Yes, thank you so much, Sean.
Right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for the time, and always a big warm thank you to the MFSA team for allowing the Bank SETA to share our Bank SETA message of the WSP submissions. The first part of my presentation today will deal with the WSP and the WSP submission. And the second one, after the service provider, I'll just give a snapshot view as to the programs that Bank SETA will be putting forward into the industry for this year. Why that one is important is that we're going to be dangling a carrot in front of you. So if you do submit your WSP, you then have access to the programs at Bank SETA, all our APP programs. So thank you very much, everybody, for your time. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see any hands because this is going to take the format more of a training than anything else. If you do have a question, I know that you won't be able to unmute yourself and just sort of pose your question, but just put it in the chat, and I'm sure that Sunay will then just stop me and so that I can attend to questions. We are going to try and do it quite interactively as possible. There's quite a lot of information to take in, but it's quite important. So thank you very, very, very much for your time. Without delaying it any further, I'm going to jump into my presentation. So from a Bank SETA perspective, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for your willingness to want to submit your WSP. The closing date for the WSP is the 30th of April, and we are literally counting down the days. From today, it's 2 weeks' time. And then it does close. It closes at midnight on the 30th of April. I do ask you that you submit your WSP earlier than the 30th. You can understand the volume of work that we're going, or the volume of WSPs and inquiries that we are going to get in that last week. And by that, I mean from next week. We're already quite inundated with a lot of support that we're giving to all the small employers. So don't leave it until the last before you submit your WSP. If you can submit it today still. If I can put it as bluntly as that, it will be highly appreciated. The most important thing for me here, to everybody in the room here, is do you actually belong to BankSeater? These are the BankSeater sector industry codes, the codes that define an employer as to do you belong to BankSeater. You'll see that the code 9002 is microfinance. And I know that if you are a member of MFSA, you can submit a WSP to us because you are in the business of microfinance. But if you are in the room and you, for example, a training provider, or you fall outside of these SIC codes, you cannot submit a WSP to BankSeater. You can only submit a WSP to the SETA that you belong to. So construction has their own, wholesale and retail has their own, insurance has their own. We are only for these SIC codes. So it's quite an important point that you must belong to BankSeater in order to submit a WSP to us. Once we do the registration of the company onto the system and we pick up that you don't belong to us, I won't be able to register you onto the system. So it is quite an important point. How do you complete and submit this WSP? So I'm going to sort of jump between the presentation and the actual live system as well. This is a new system that we implemented last year, and it's quite a cool system. It works well. And we've I've become sort of familiar as to where where most employers sort of get stuck on it. So I'm going to jump between the system, the training manual, and my presentation here so that you can get a good sense and a feel of the actual system itself, right? So the most important thing is, or the starting point is, you need to have one of these 4 browsers in order to submit your WSP. Why it's important is that the system is configured only for these 4 browsers, one being Chrome, Firefox, Opera, and Edge. General standard browsers within the Microsoft suite. You shouldn't have an issue there. But I have had employers, and we're struggling to sort out an issue over the phone, and only to find out that they're not using one of these browsers, and that's the reason why they can't get onto the system. So check to see that you do have one of these browsers, and check to see that you do have a stable internet connection when you are submitting your WSP. It does sort of throw out the functionality of the system. If your internet is not that great, it will sort of impact on it as well. So if you do have one of these browsers, you will be fine. Right. Then the process. And I've sort of put it here in a summary form in terms of the process, right? Firstly, you need to register the company with BankSeater. Now that means that you've never ever submitted a WSP to BankSeater ever, and you now need to register your company. You need to then, I'll touch on it in the presentation, you need to register the company with us. Once you register the company with us, the system generates an email back to you to say you registered, right? Once you registered, the registration gets done by BankSeater. You send your registration forms to us. We will register you on the system. The system generates an email back to you. Once you get that email back, you then need to register the STF. The STF can be anybody within the company as well, or you can use an external STF as well. But you need to then register. There's a process to register the STF. The STF will then complete the WSP. Most important thing, that third point there, there's 4 WSP forms. The forms has been sent to Sunay, and I'm sure that everybody that's in the room here, you can contact Sunay and she will be able to send you those 4 forms. It's 4 Excel spreadsheets. These Excel spreadsheets are exactly the forms that are on the system. The reason why I say complete the 4 forms is that you don't have to sit on the system itself and then click people's ID numbers, names, surname, what occupation they are, what role they fulfill in the company, all of that. You pre-populate those 4 forms so that when you come onto the system, you can just upload those 4 forms. So before you actually go into the system, you complete those 4 Excel forms. Sunay will send them to you. The fourth point there is the authorization form. Now, there is a standard authorization form. You can get it off the system, but Sunay has that as well. She'll send it to you. That authorization form is very important. That authorization form by law then gives the permission to submit the WSP. Very important document, that one. You need to get it signed by the CEO of the company or the head of training or whatever the case may be, but it has to be somebody in authority. It can't just be signed by anybody. It needs to have 2 signatures on it. If it's not signed, that authorization form will be deemed not valid, right? Very important one there. So Sunay will send you the 4 forms, the authorization form, and the manual that we'll touch on now. That manual tells you exactly how to do the system. You don't even need me around if you have that manual with you. The WSP gets completed online, and last is press the submit button. So that's it in a summary. And we're going to go into it as the presentation goes. That firstly, register the company. Secondly, register the STF. And then you are going to be then starting with the WSP submissions. You complete those forms, the authorization form. The 5th bullet there, you're going to complete it online and you press the submit button, and then you will have submitted your WSP. It sounds pretty simple. I'm going to show you that it is actually quite simple. We've designed the system in a way that it's user-friendly, that everything is pre-populated for you. It's trying to make the system as seamless for you as possible. Then, first one, how do you register your company with BankSeater? So you've got this registration form that Sunaya sent you, right? You need to complete it, and then you need to send it to Andile, right? Andile, you need to attach to the registration form the company CPIC document, the SARS registration letter, and an ID copy of the owner of the company, right? That then gets sent to Andile. Andile will register the company for you. We will generate that N number or L number for you that you will then use as your identifier on the system, right? Very important process, this one, but it's an easy one. So all you need to do is complete the forms, send it to Andile. Andile loads you onto the system. Done and dusted. As soon as she loads you on the system and the system recognizes all the information on there and we click OK, a system generates an email through to you. Comes through to your email inbox, and now you know you have been registered. At the moment, we're registering companies quite a lot. Like I said, don't leave it till next week. If you haven't if you're not on BankSeater's system yet, do it this week. These people are quite busy already. And as usual, we only got 3 people, warm bodies, sitting and doing this. So if we get 200 in the last day on the 30th, imagine that we won't be able to help you. I'm going to be quite honest with you, it'll be quite difficult. I don't ever think that it will ever get to that, but please do this registration as soon as what you can. Once the company is registered, you get that email back to you, and then you can then register the STF, right? We'll go through it in the manual and so on, but that then becomes the next point that you, just move this up, you will then register the STF on the system. Now you'll see there, it says register the STF on the system through https://simsbankseater.org.za. Right? If you click on that, then now it takes you onto the landing page of the system itself. You then complete it on there, and we'll go through that process in the training itself. I want to actually click on this here just to show you what the landing page actually looks like. Right, there you got the landing page. So that landing page is the actual SIM system on that link, right? If you're not sure about that link there, you can go onto BankSeater's website, Google BankSeater, you get onto our BankSeater website. On the landing page of the website, you go right to the bottom to log in, and you click on login, and login will then show this exact screen as well. So at the moment, that is what the landing page is. You've registered your company, now you want to register the STF, right? That's going to land you on this page here.
Apologies,
You put in
Sean.
your user.
Sorry,
Yes, sure,
Sean.
go.
Can you kindly just stop sharing and just reshare because we can't see the landing page at this stage.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Okay, is that better?
Thank you so much, Sean. Perfect.
Cool. I said, as I'm jumping between the actual manual, the actual system, and that, it might just do that. So I think when I do bounce around between it, I'll just refresh and I'll reshare again, so that it doesn't happen again. So your username is always going to be the ID number of the STF, right? The ID number. So the username is the ID number. At that point in time, you do not have a password because you're a new STF, you need to create your profile, right? You put in ID number there. It's going to give you an option for forgot password. You click on forgot password, and then it will let you create a password. The system will generate a password for you that will go to the email address that we've registered for you. On that there, it's going to tell you to change the password, right? You change your password, you get into the system, and you then can load all the details of the STF, right? Once the details are all loaded, and we'll touch on that in the training manual, it generates an email to me to say that there's an STF registration waiting for me to approve. Only a manager can approve this, right? I will go into the system. I will go and approve you. I will check to see if there is an ID, if there is an authorization letter, right? I click on that. One thing that's very important just to note here, when you're using your company letterheads for this letter, just to say, this is the name of the company. The company has appointed Tom, Dick, and Harry to be the STF with ID number, etc., and that will be then now signed by the owner of the company, right? The actual letterhead of the company must have all the contact details. Otherwise, I'm not going to approve it. It needs to have a proper physical address. It needs to have contact telephone numbers, so that just for us just to be able to see the physical address of the company, and then it matches the registration as well. Quite an important point, that one. And then you do the STF registrations on there. Okay, I'm going to go out of this one. And then I'm going to go back into the presentation. I'll just slide between that again. Okay. So now you'll just guide me if it is still visible, okay?
Yes, visible. Thank you, Sean.
Cool. Right. So last slide in terms of my presentation is you then complete the WSP. So now you've registered the company, you've registered the STF is approved by me. You now can complete your WSP. You follow the system user manual. I promise you people, the system user manual, we took a lot of time and effort to design a manual that's user-friendly. If you follow the manual step by step, you actually can't go wrong. It's that easy. Complete all the templates on the online system, or you've got those 4 forms already pre-populated. Complete all fields. It's a very important point that you can't skip fields. You can't leave open, for example, the banking details on the system, and the system won't allow you to submit the WSP. You have 4 forms that you've already filled in and you're ready to upload, and then you submit your WSP. So that's it in a nutshell. And I'm hoping to sort of, that is it at a high level. Register the company, register the STF, submit the WSP. It sounds very, very, very simple, and it is actually that simple. And then once you submit your WSP, it will then generate a email through to you again to say your WSP has been submitted. For those companies that it's important for your BEE points, you are also then, with that submission email, there's a letter attached to it to say that the WSB has been successfully submitted, and that is the letter that you use for your BE verification as well. So I'm going to go out of this here, and I actually want to go into the system itself. So once you are registered on the system, you've done your username, your password, all of that. You now then have your password, you go into the system. This is the landing page. This is what it's going to look like. That STL number that we generated for you, you put in there, you click on the magnifying glass, it will take you to your company. I'm going to go into just the test company over here.
Hi, Sean. Will you kindly just screen share the landing page once more for us?
Cool. That's the landing page there. Is that fine?
Sorry, Sean, we can't see it yet.
Okay, I'm going to stop share and I'm going to reshare it again because now I'm just going to be on the system. Okay.
Thank you, Sean.
Cool. This is the landing page. This is exactly what it looks like. So I'm sort of more or less in here. As you'll see on here, I've got some extra rights in it, but generally this is what you are going to see as well. I've got a test company that's set up here. So when you come in there, you put in your STL number, you press your magnifying glass, you'll find it, it will open it up like this. Right? It will open it up to this. Now, this is our test organization, but this is exactly what it's going to look like. You start on the left-hand side with that button there. You go to that one, you fill in that, you fill in that, you fill in that, you fill in that, all of that, until you're done, and you then would be able to submit your WSB. A very important point to remember, and it's just a little bit of a technical thing, but like I said earlier on, when I am assisting people and employers, of the most common things is if you go to that arrow on the top here, you know, it seems to, it's almost like a default thing. If you want to go back, you sometimes press that one on the top there. Don't press that one ever. It's going to take you out of the system again. You always see that there is an arrow there, and that's the one that you use to sort of navigate between the different pages. So in the contact details, in this case here, you've got your contact details of the person who will be generally the owner of the company. And then you under the details here, you fill in the general details. Everything is pre-populated for you already, and you can't change anything on it as well, right? A very important one here is I only deal with small employers. So small employers are employers who employ less than 50 people in the business. If you're more than 50 people, you then 50 to 49, you're a medium company. And if you're above 149 employees, you are a large company. Then I hand you over to another department. They will handle it because there's additional forms that's required for medium and large employers. I'm not going to do any of that in here today because it's going to it's just going to confuse you, right? I will rather just deal with the small employers. So under general details, you fill in all your details there. A very, very important point to remember is always click confirm details. After you've filled in all the information that you should, you click confirm details. Because if you just go back out of the system there, right, it's not going to remember anything that you've done. You need to confirm details before you do and go to the next one. Then you fill in the bank details, right? You fill in all the bank details here. You need to have your copy, you know, your bank account. You can system generate a proof of account and so on like that. You need to upload that. That you can upload when you click on that there. You choose it sort of from your to be something that's on your computer. You get that letter, save it in a folder onto your computer. You then upload it onto that and it will pre-populate there. And then when you're done with bank details, You can link organizations if they are subsidiary organizations. Generally, with small employers, I haven't seen one that has subsidiaries. If you don't have subsidiaries, just do a letter that also just says you have no subsidiaries. A blank letter that just says this company does not have subsidiary organizations, because somewhere along the line, it will ask you just to populate if you have a upload for subsidiaries. I just want to change that there. Okay, right. Then the training committee details. You can fill in the training committee details. And generally, with smaller employers, you don't have a training committee because you're a small organization. For those that do, you can fill in the details of your training committee. Generally, just the STF can fill in the STF details in there, and that would suffice. But don't, like I say, don't leave anything empty, right? If you don't have a training committee, just put the STF details in there, but don't leave it empty. The CFO details, you put in the CFO details, click save, etc. Then you go to this one here. So this one here is the important one. I was hoping that I had let's take that one there. Once you click on your company, so in your case here, it would be a small company, medium and large. Sometimes there's more stuff that needs to be loaded, but you click on your company there, then you see that and then you can see here. Now, the 4 forms that you need to do are just A1, A2, A3, A4, right? Nothing else. This is just for medium and large companies. If you're a small company and we've loaded you as a small company, only those first 4, A1, A2, A3, A4 will be there. But A1, A2, A3, A4 are those 4 Excel spreadsheets that I actually told you about. So in A1, you'll see it's your hard to fill vacancy form. If you press select here, now you've got those 4 forms saved in a folder on your computer already. You click on there, it's going to, here it's giving you the option to fill it in, or you can just go to bulk import, right? So in bulk import, it will say upload file. It will look for it on your computer where you saved it there, and you will press import. You import it into that and close, and then it's there. So now you can understand that it makes it a whole lot easier for you if you have those forms pre-populated. If you don't have them pre-populated, you're going to have to fill them in one by one, right? So yeah, you can do it like that, but it's just going to take some time for you, you know? I think I'll just close my Outlook so that I don't get emails coming through. But like I say, it's much better just to do the bulk import, load those forms onto it, and then when you're actually sitting and submitting your WSP, you're not sitting and filling in entries for each individual employee. When you're done with A1, you go back, WSP ATR forms, you go to the next one. It's your common skills gaps. Same process there. Instead of, like, if you had to do it one by one, you're going to go add, and then you're going to add one person at a time and the reasons, etc. But if you had that pre-populated, you just go select, bulk import, upload file. It's going to go to the folder on your computer, and then you can just upload it onto that. So for small companies, will just be the first 4, and then you're done with the WSP forms. Go back to the dashboard and go out of there. I just want you to see something here. The authorization page. So I want to sort of give you an idea as to what that looks like. It actually just might stop my screen. We'll do it later on. Just get out of there. So now just confirm with me if my screen is still sharing properly.
Yes, thank you, Sean.
Cool, 100%. So that would mean you've done your contact details, bank details, linked your organization, you've filled in your training committee, you've filled in CFO details, you've uploaded all your forms. Here's your document type. So it's going to say your authorization page. Your authorization page is very, very important. If you click on it, it's going to give you the option to upload the page. So here, these are test pages. In your case, in your own profile, you'd be able to click on the document that uploads it onto that. The subsidiary page is also in the minutes of training committee, just a blank Word document to say there are no minutes of training committee. Done, finished, right? Upload it. Don't leave it empty. Same thing as subsidiary confirmation, a letter just to say, it doesn't have to be on a letter. There are no subsidiary companies. And then you upload it, and then all your documents are uploaded. So you've done all your document uploads, you've filled in your forms, you've got all your details here, and then you are ready. The last place, these CRM ones, it's important for us to sort of just know also, okay, you want to do extension requests and that stuff. The last one is the stakeholder feedback. Now, it has become a compulsory thing because we get tested on this by Department of Higher Education. So you just fill in this last little thing here. It's just 8 little questions, and they're all pre-populated. And once that is done, you again back into the landing page here, and then you can submit your WSP. Always remember confirm details at the bottom. Just want to just check here. That is fine. Yeah. And then once you have done your stakeholder feedback, you go back into your WSP ATR forms, and then an icon comes up here that says submit WSP. If that icon doesn't come up there, you'll see that there's something missing. You either haven't filled in one of the details here, and then it won't submit. But that's it basically in a nutshell. And I've tried to sort of make it from a high level that you can understand what the process is. It's registration of the company, STF registration, and then the WSP completion of this. And that's how simple it is. I'm live on the system as we speak now. And I can tell you there's a heck of a lot of people on the system as we're speaking. But you can see how fast the system is. We've widened the bandwidth considerably in the month of April so that we don't find a situation where the system is lagging, for example, right? And then it can sort of just make the process a little bit slower. But you'll see the system is very fast at the moment. In terms of just that sidebar here, that is where everything falls from. If you're looking for your organization, that's your landing page there for organization. There you can see the STF details, etc., etc. I can, on my side, that's where I do my verifications, I do my approvals, etc. We can do reports. We are going to be using this system for our DGs as well, so discretionary grants. If you are applying for in any of our funding windows, we're going to be moving it onto an online system so that it's not, no human error can come into it as well. So that's basically it in a nutshell. That if you go onto these 3 lines here, the most important one is organization, and that is where you submit all your WSP information. Click on there, and then it goes into all of that there. So I'm just going to pause here quickly and just check if there's any questions just before I just touch on the manual. But if there's no questions, so now you can go on that one, and then I can just touch on the manual.
Perfect. Thank you, Sean. We do have a few questions. So if you can please elaborate for us on the OFO, the Organizing Framework for Occupation, just to give the members an understanding of where exactly it fits into the bigger picture.
Okay, so your OFO codes are your banking codes, and they are predefined, right? Those predefined OFO codes are built into the system already, right? Where you will see it is in those 4 Excel spreadsheet documents that I told you about that you need to fill in. That is where you fill that in. And I'm going to go in here just want to just have a look to see if I can see it. Just this. Right. So here, your OFO occupations, right? Your provinces, etc. These are all pre-populated stuff, right? The OFO codes links itself to the occupation that the person fulfills in the actual business, right? If you're in management, if you'll see they literally all there, and they pre-populated into the Excel spreadsheets already, right? To see if we can take another one. In this one here, your OFO occupations in the Excel spreadsheet, they pre-populated your common skills gaps. So it lists literally all the common skills gaps that we have registered on the system as well. These are Department of Higher Education OFO codes that we use, right? The occupations, the reason, and this is for the skills gaps, lack of experience, lack of qualifications, limited resources, etc., etc. And those are of the reasons for the common skills gaps. Don't be in there. So let's see.
Sean, whilst we are on the skills gaps, I think just to confirm, so BankSita actually provides a list to guide the members in order to identify the skills gaps in their businesses.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
These are it goes through our research department, and they pre-populate these here, and these are the most common skills gaps in there. One thing that I'd also just I just want to just actually go into the WSP forms so that I can show you. Okay. Now, because I'm going into Excel, so now I might lose my screen here, but just tell me if you can see my screen.
I can see the system, not the Excel spreadsheets yet.
Okay, I'm gonna share again. Okay, so this is the common skills gap Excel spreadsheet, right? And you'll see that you got your drop-down menus there, right? So under OFO occupation, there's all the occupations that's registered, pre-registered for you already. Please only choose from them, right? You will fit in somewhere there, right? If you delete and you put in anything of your own, you say you're not a police officer, you're something else. When you upload the document onto the system, it's going to give an error, right? So you cannot change anything under the pre-defined lists, and that is very important. In terms of the skills gaps, there's the reasons for the most common skills gaps. You click from there, right? And then it gives you the reasons as well. And then you can see, you just choose one of those. So say, for example, let's take an occupation. Let's see an ombudsperson. So there's an ombudsperson. His common skills gaps is instructing. He's not good at instructing, right? What's the reason why? Say, okay, there's new technology being used. And then you go to the next person. And then the next person is, for example, an internal audit manager, and common skills gap there. Let's say he's got advanced IT software skills that he needs, right? And the reason for that is also that there's new products being produced, and then you go to the next one, so on like that. So that's where you fill in this document here. I'm not going to save changes to this, but this is one of the Excel spreadsheets that I've sent through to you that you can send on to everybody. Okay.
Sean, we have another question
Right.
here, and
Sure.
Versal Finance is asking, are the skills gaps actually going to be detrimental for stakeholders to get funding for training?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So, what the WSP does is think about it as as quite a complex system in the background, right? We need, as Bank Sita, to give a snapshot view of our sector on an annual basis. Sector as is now, right? 30th of April, this is what it looks like. How many people there are? How many people are employed in management positions, middle management, senior management, exec management? What are the age groups? What are their demographic? Where they're from? In which areas of our country they're from? And then it drills it down to skills gaps. What are the common skills gaps, etc. So when you load all of this onto the system and you submit it and your WSP is submitted, it goes into the back end of the system that draws down all this data into reports, right? These reports get collated, put together by our research department, and they then responsible for submission of what we call our SSP, the Sector Skills Plan. The SSP must provide the Department of Higher Education and then obviously the ministry as to what does the banking sector look like at the moment. So the question is from the floor was, will it have an influence on your applications? It definitely won't, because all we need is your data. All we need is your data so that we can design programs to respond to the data that we get. If we see there's a common problem with technology across all our, across medium, small and large employers, we then respond by the data that you've given us. We'll then build it into our programs. And that's more or less where this thing comes from. So that SSP data is extremely important. It will never affect your applications at the moment. And I think that it's quite an important question, because if you think about it, one of the main reasons why people don't submit WSPs is because you're scared. You're scared that if you submit this data, Bank Sita is going to say, hey, but you don't need this training. We're not going to authorize and we're not going to fund you for training and so on like that. And you can't be further from the truth. This submission of a WSP is just for data. And the data is critical in terms of what we need for the skills we need for our sector. And we need to report into the Department of Higher Education system as to what this banking sector looks like. So that's the purpose of a SETA. If you think about it, that the most important function of any SETA, of these 21 SETAs that exists in our country, the main function is the workplace skills plan. They built it into the SARS system that if you above the 500,000 Rand threshold, you must submit a WSP. If you're below, you must still, but it's not a legal requirement. But this WSP is triggered by the Skills Development Act. And that's why we're here. With this information, our country can make better decisions as to the workforce, if you think about it. It's critically important if you at government level, at senior national government level, you need to know how many data scientists we have. You need to know how many engineers we have, how many plumbers we have, how many plumbers do we have in the Eastern Cape, how many plumbers do we have in Alice in the Eastern Cape. You know, this data that we're putting through into the system here gives that information life. And it's critically important for us in terms of our labor profile. We can see from our labor profile how many people are unemployed, but further to that, how many people are unemployed per province, right? We then respond as a SETA to design programs to alleviate that, if it makes sense. So thank you very much for the question. It's such an important question, because I think that many times the reason why people don't, or employers don't submit WSPs if they're below the threshold, is that actually, why must I do this thing? You know, is it going to prejudice me going forward? Why does SARS need this detail? Why does Bank Sita need this detail? And you can't be further from the truth. The data that we can get from your WSPs as a microfinance sector will be able to tell us what the sector looks like, what's the demographics of the sector, and what skills do you need in the sector. We design a program to address those skills shortages that you have highlighted there. It will make a huge difference to us in terms of the decision making that we make in order to put our programs forward. Thanks, Sunay. Are there any other questions?
Thank you, Sean. I'm going to take one more question before we give an opportunity to Israel Nogo to present on his services. So the question we have here is from Otter Cash Loans. They're asking, how long should we be in operation to be able to submit the WSP?
From day one. If you started your business this year, you submitted your WSP this year, and there's no distinction in the law. The distinction is over 500,000 per year payroll. If you're paying 1% of your payroll and it's over 500,000 per year, by law, you must submit a workplace skills plan. If you're below that threshold, you still submit your WSP to BankSeed because we need the data and you can access funding, right? And that's important. So from year one of your business, you can submit a WSP. There is absolutely no distinction between you must be in business for a certain amount of years before you must be doing this thing. This thing is important, and it's important for us as BankSeed, it's important for the country. So from first year onwards, absolutely, please submit. If you just open up your business now and this is your first year of training, please go for it. You know, if you anticipate your annual salary bill is going to exceed your 500,000, and then submit already, you know, it's going to be a compliance thing. It's just going to you're going to be able to access our funding. You know, I'll put it to you as simple as that. We dangle that carrot there that if you don't submit the WSP, you can't submit. You won't be able to benefit from internships, learnerships, skills programs, nothing. You know, but if you submit the WSP, you can access all of that for your business. And that is our way of incentivizing the program, because this data and this WSP is extremely important for us. Thanks very much, Sunay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sean. We will hear from you in a couple of minutes about the funding windows that you have available at BankSeed. And for now, we will welcome Israel Nogo. He's the CEO of NPI Consulting, and he's the service provider that can actually assist you to complete and submit the WSP. So, Israel, welcome to you, and we look forward to hearing more about your services.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to MFSA for welcoming me today and giving me an opportunity to speak with you about the subject that I've been very passionate about, which is essentially skills development. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen, and then I'll go into my presentation and tell you a little bit about what it is that we do. So, right, great. So today, when I was asked to kind of speak about, you know, what it is that we do, I thought rather than just doing the normal sales pitch, it was to rather kind of leave you with a plant or seed in your mind about how you're supposed to be looking at training and how you can then effectively then partner up with the BankSeed to make sure you can realize your dream ultimately, particularly in a time where we're living through quite a bit of turbulence in South Africa. So today what I'll do is that I'm going to basically give you a bit of an overview of, you know, who we are. I'll then talk about, you know, where the world is today in terms of, you know, having recovered from a period of uncertainty, having covered from a period where there's been, you know, various different dynamics taking place in the world. And how do we need to start thinking about the world of training in our workplace as we start to engage with the BankSeed? And then what I'll then do is that, you know, guide you in terms of how you're supposed to engage with the CETA, the approach that you're supposed to take internally. And then I'll give you then my top 7 reasons why submitting your WSP and your ATR absolutely makes business sense for you. So this particularly applies for those companies that have never done this before. So NPI Governance Consulting, I started this business about 12 years ago and basically started it in my living room. And over the last 12 years, we've assisted over 200 companies, making sure that they understand the world of transformation, understand the world of you know, skills and training, and to be able to engage at an effective level in terms of being able to make sure that skills actually does work for them and engaging with the CETAs is then going to become quite effective for them. In turn, we also do have our subsidiary business, which is our training academy. And we are CTO accredited. We are also QC2 accredited. And we also take a different approach to training where we try and embrace technology into the new world of work, because that's the way that, you know, the world of work is actually embarking upon, and technology is the way that we're doing that. So we have a variety of different approaches to it, and I welcome the opportunity of speaking to you about this a little bit further. So just a little bit about my background, and I was initially born here in South Africa, raised in Canada, spent a lot of time in the UK, and then came back to South Africa in 1997. So in my previous life, I used to be a bank CETA board member, and I was a board member between 2014 up to until 2019. And then after that period, Leonie then took over from me. But I am currently at the moment a member of Microfinance South Africa, and have been a member, you know, for the last 10 years. So many of you I may have met already, but if I haven't met some of you, I look forward to engaging you, especially as you go through this journey right now. So the question I'd like to ask to you today is, where do you think we are today? Particularly in a time, you know, where we've just come out of a post-COVID environment. And my view is that the world at the moment, as we stand right now, is going through a global reset. And the reason for that global reset is that this is the way that the world naturally goes through. And it's really triggered by a number of different factors. The first one is technology. The second one is financial. The third one is medical. And then the fourth reason why the world might have to go through its reset is because of war. And normally when these things normally take place, the things that we will experience after that is some sort of devaluation. And normally that will, you know, last for about 8 to 16 months, where interest rates are going to be as high as they are at the moment. We often see a devaluation of currency. We often see that there's a flight of skill sets leaving the country and going to new destinations and things like that. And we're going through quite a stressful time at the moment right now. But don't be pessimistic about it. There is some good news, because usually this lasts for about 6 months. And then what we will probably see is unprecedented growth at the moment. And the way that I see this happening is that after the resets that we've currently gone through, and these are just some of them, you know, that have taken place over the last 30 to 40 years, the sort of thing that the workplace is now looking for is basically the future customer in this industry is wanting access to financial service, which is much more quicker, and they are looking for a lot more convenience. So the answer to what you are supposed to be thinking about when you're looking at your own training is innovation and technology. If you can bring this into your own organization, this is a strategic way of you being able to tap into your future customer in the long term as well. So there's been a number of different research that have been done in terms of what the future skill sets are likely to be. And the reports that we've seen is that not only are we looking at your hard, you know, financial skills, but they're also your soft skills too. So when thinking about the types of training programs that you're looking at, you also want to consider whether or not those service providers you are engaging with are also factoring these types of skill sets that we need to have in our organizations. Because the challenges that we find today is that resilience is a skill set that a lot of organizations are missing, particularly with the younger generation, the millennial generations. And these are the sort of things that, you know, are going to be hotly in demand in your own organization. So I would like to kind of leave you with that thought. So where do we go to from now? Well, you know, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. And I know that because nobody expected that when COVID was going to hit us, that we would need to reinvest a lot of our resources into technology so that we're able to then communicate with our customers. So the fact that we've got now this looming deadline of the 30th of April, I urge you not to panic. You still got some time to submit a plan. And you still got some time to go back to the drawing board and to reconsider, in light of what I've shared with you, you know, what sort of plan that you want to submit in place. So the first thing that you need to do is make sure that you've got your employee profile in place. And this is basically a collection of information about the genders that you have in your organizations, the race, the demographics that you have. And once you've got that profile, then you can then submit this information, particularly around the trainings that you've done in the last financial year, so that you can submit this to the SETAs there. So the sort of documentation that they will need are things like your invoices, proof of training, certificates, attendance registries, and that sort of stuff over there. The next thing that you should be considering doing is appointing the right skills development facilitator. And often we find that, the person that gets appointed doesn't necessarily have the right type of experience. And usually when we want you to identify that person, you can either have this person being an internal person or an external person. And, you need to make sure that they understand the SETA landscape. There is nothing worse than getting somebody that comes into your own organization, doesn't really understand the experience, or hasn't gone through the experience before, and then doesn't submit it, and therefore you don't actually are deemed to be a successfully submitted your application. You need to make sure that the facilitator that it has got strong communications with both your staff, with the management team, as well as being able to engage effectively with the SETA as well. They need to show adaptability. So the training that we did 8 years ago is very, very different to the training that we need today. So it's very important that the type of person that you have assisting you on your journey here is able to kind of read the signs of what's going on in the industry, so that they can prepare the organizations to adapt to the new way of working in the organizations. Certainly needs to be tech savvy, needs to be a subject matter expert, needs to have empathy, emotional intelligence, a very strong feature that we're beginning to see that's becoming more and more in prevalence in the workplace, needs to have very good coaching skills at the same time. And for goodness sake, please do not appoint an admin clerk to be your skills development facilitator, because the chances are they will get it wrong. So, what are the benefits of having an SDF in your organization or an external SDF? Well, they can certainly help you with your mandatory and your discretionary grants. A good skills development facilitator will have done this before and will be able to successfully secure funding for you to fund your programs internally as well. They will also be able to help you register your learnership programs in line with your business strategy, so that as you start thinking about the growth of your company, you're starting to think about the pipeline of talent in your company, and they can help you in that journey as well. But more importantly, what makes this a real valuable thing is that there are certain tax benefits and rebates that you can get, as well as in the long term too. So where do you get started? Well, the first place you get started is basically identifying the scarce and critical skills that are missing in your business. Then from there, you need to prioritize them. So in this financial year, the priority might be in technology skills or fintech or in other areas. And then as the list gets, longer and longer, you can start to shift them according to, the areas or priorities that you want to do, address them at. Then you complete the forms, and after completion of the forms, you will then engage with the bank SETA and talk about not only your immediate plans, but as well as your long-term plans. And in my experience with the bank SETA, the bank SETA always welcomes the opportunity to engage with you so that they can understand your strategic long-term plans as well. So the things that you need to do to avoid some of the pitfalls is you must plan early. Yes, I do know that we've got 2 weeks until the next submissions, but we also still got next year to think about. So do prepare early. Understand the requirements. Take some time to read it. It is wonderful reading, and yes, it might be a little bit boring for some of you, but ultimately, as you start to grow your companies, you need to make sure that those training programs align to the BE scorecard, because at some point, as you grow your business, the BE scorecard will become a reality for you, and you want to make sure that your programs that you do for skills development meets the requirements of your BE scorecard. Submit on time. And I think this is the one thing that Sean did mention, is that submitting in time, even now, is a good idea to do that. But more importantly, keep records of this. Keep records, particularly if you're outsourcing it to somebody, on your file there, because at a future date, you may be required to submit those same documentations as proof of submissions that you've done this before in the past. So I'm now going to give you my top 7 reasons why you should submit your WSP and ATR, and what are the commercial reasons for those. So some of the benefits for you are, when you are preparing for your journey to understand the skills development requirements in your organization, you're able to understand the skills development in your own organization. You're able to also understand where the industry is going, and getting that input from an external service provider gives you that intelligence at the same time too. Interesting enough, you can actually get 69.5% of your SDL back as a claim back, depending on how you structure your programs. And we've done this sort of experience before in the past, and I'll be very happy to engage with you and talk about how we can help you in this regard too. We can also help you get access to mandatory and discretionary grants. A lot of organizations are missing out on huge opportunities to do that. We have helped companies get millions of rands in training budgets so that they can be able to implement those trainings companies today. And today they're way ahead of their competitors right now. Section 12H rebates. We can help you get up to 90,000 rands per individual on completion of a 12-month learnership program. And again, this is a strategic way of the CETA now becoming your strategic partner for you, particularly if you're embarking upon a program. And this is one of the most exciting things that can actually be done for you. Another incentive for you is a Section 10A and A rebate that you can get, particularly for organizations that have uniforms. Now, the uniform, if it's part of a mandatory requirement of employment, can actually give you a rebate that, particularly if you have learners in your organizations, and the employer themselves can actually get a rebate back. More importantly, it is the law, but you need to make sure, again, that it is aligned to your skills development, your BE compliance, so that you can maximize as much points as possible so that you can be ahead of the curve from all your other competitors. So if you want to get money back into your pocket, come and speak to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that insightful presentation, Israel. I think if you put it into perspective, training and education should take the same priority as compliance in your businesses. So we will have a contact or a survey form that you can submit if you want Israel to contact you after the session. But for now, we will hear from Sean on the funding windows that the Bank CETA has available. So Sean, welcome back. And we look forward to hearing about the funding windows you have.
Thanks, Sinead. Thanks very much. Let me just see if I can share. I think before I even share, it's such an awesome opportunity to share the platform with you, Mr. Noko. As an ex-Bank CETA board member, it's absolutely awesome just to touch with you and even just to be part of the network again. So all of the very best for all the wonderful work that you're doing, and you've touched on exactly my very heartfelt points in your presentation as well. So thanks for that.
My pleasure.
Okay. Okay, so basically, I just wanted to just touch on this in a nutshell in terms of the programs that Bank CETA is putting forward for 24-25. You'll see that this is the summary of the targets that we have as Bank CETA for this financial year. 190,000 workplace-based learning opportunities, 150,000 learners registered on skills programs, 36,000 learners entering artisanal programs, 26,500 learners passing these trades, 53,000 learners completing learnerships, 11,000 learners completing internships, and an additional 128,000 learners completing skills programs. That is, in a nutshell, a heck of a lot of training. I sometimes wonder how we manage to achieve these targets. But that's the extent of the support that we give into the banking sector. And submission of your WSP would then provide you with the opportunity to access of this funding. I've just done a quick little summary. There are obviously some of the funding windows that remember that we use different mechanisms in order to get our programs out there. So for example, for WELL or for even within SME, we could use an SEM process, or we could use a funding window process as well in order to disperse the funds. In my department this year, we're going to be doing the entrepreneurship funding window again. The funding window should open in the next 2 weeks. These are for young businesses, startups, and even existing businesses to support them with entrepreneurial skills and with assistance. I think from a greater perspective that entrepreneurship has become quite key to the development of our economy in the country. So we're not only looking for skills programs, we're looking for actual programs that can start up businesses. The pivotal funding window falls within the World Department, or sorry, within Skills Department, and that's for your longer programs. Those are if you want to do degree courses, etc. That funding window is for that purpose. The SME funding window also falls within my department, and that is for anybody, small employers that submit a WSP can access funding in this funding window for the training of their staff. It has been a standing funding window that we've had for as long as what I can remember. It's yielded awesome results. We've received really good applications in this funding window. We keep on tweaking it a little bit just to make sure that we're relevant in terms of the information that we gather from the sector. That one should also open within the next 2 weeks. The Rural Development Support Program, that is for your rural CFI, SMEs, etc. This year, we are going out on tender for this one. It's going to be a case of we're going to get a service provider that's going to be assisting us with the development of rural SMEs. Then we've got our industry learnerships and internships. Those are for all employers. The IT skills funding window for the IT skills. This is not only for SMEs. That's a typo on my side. It's for all employers. Our TVET will for all employers. The CFI funding window forms part of the SME funding window, and we are going to be supporting cooperative financial institutions in that funding window. The university will, and the industry learnerships and internships. And if I go back to my summary, you can see exactly that we're going to be doing quite a lot. I would suggest that you keep your eye on the BankSeater website. It is a requirement, a policy requirement, that all our funding windows and our SCM processes must be advertised onto our website. And if you keep your eye on the website, you would be able to access and be able to become familiar with the terms of references for the various funding mechanisms, and you're more than welcome to apply in those. I do encourage you to use reputable training providers. I think a very important point brought on by Mr. Noko as well, that choose those training providers properly, vet them properly, check their accreditation, make sure that they understand your business, make sure that they can add value to you as an employer. You're the one that's going to be dealing with them. We just sign a contract with you to support you for the skills development, but you're the one that must choose your service provider and choose them wisely. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks again to the MFSA team for this platform that I use on an annual basis to share the BankSeater message. I do appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Sean. I don't see any additional questions. Just to confirm with the members that if your organization is registered with the BankSeater, you will receive the communication with regards to the funding windows as and when they open throughout the year. So, Sean, I recall when you and I started preparing for this session and what we are going to present, we had some discussions about the success story. So, Sean, maybe if you can share one or two that we had discussed, yes, with regards to some of the members getting access to the opportunities at the BankSeater.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks very much, Sine. It's always nice just to share these success stories. We sort of have a very pessimistic outlook on our future as a country at the moment, and I think it's nice to look at the positives, because there are so many positives. If I look at the MFSA participants that we have put onto our executive program. So our executive program, obviously through COVID, we could not take people out of country, but this year we have taken the decision to take the group of 20 executives, so in this case it will be 40 executives, out of country. And I do know that there's a small new MFSA member, I think that joined MFSA last year or the year before, that will be participating in the IDP, an absolutely wonderful opportunity. We are going to be looking at best practices on the African continent, taking the group to Kenya and taking the group to the Netherlands as well. The Netherlands has quite a very strong CFI fiscus setup. Very, very interesting one. So from the MFSA, we have received and we have put on people on the program previously, and they have certainly benefited from the opportunity as well. If I look at the growth that has happened within those companies after the program, it is quite significant. Within the SME funding window, we have supported MFSA members there. And if I look at our closeout reports that we require from the employers and the impact that it has in the communities and within the employer structures, it's received quite a lot of traction there as well. And I think lastly, I think that if I don't mention the successes that we're achieving in our entrepreneurship program, it's been absolutely phenomenal. We decided sort of during COVID that we had to come up with a different model for entrepreneurship. We had to look at a program that looks at the holistic view of developing a small business from inception, and we're talking about startups. And if I look at the impact that we've had in terms of projects in green economy, women in business, food creation, we've supported programs in government agencies, bank sector employers with corporate social investment programs. And the programs have morphed into a strong focus for a holistic development of technology, of understanding the landscape of our country at the moment, what's needed in terms of growing, alleviating poverty, and then also growing our employed base. We are sitting in a country at the moment with a very high unemployment rate. I think it's roughly about 33% at the moment, which is huge. And the SME sector is geared up to possibly be the answer and where a lot of growth can happen. So those are just some of the success stories. Unfortunately, I did see a question there on the applications on IEDP. The applications have closed. All 40 seats have been taken already. If you did submit the WSP last year, we communicate directly with you, as what Sunay says, because when I do my bulk communications, I only communicate with the STFs that are registered on the system. It just makes it easier, because if you didn't submit the WSP, you can't actually go on the program as well. So it has, like I said, it has significant impact into the sector. So thanks for that, Sunay. It's always nice to share the success stories as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. One last question I see here is there a list of service providers that you can share with us, Sean, that's accredited with Bank CETA, the training service providers?
That's probably the most common question I get. There is a list of all our accredited providers on our website, and you can access them there. If you see on our website which qualifications also belong to Bank CETA, some of them are QCTO registered. You go onto the QCTO website and you can see who are the accredited service providers for that. And that is probably the best that I can give. I can tell you that Mr. Noko is one of the best, but I try and steer clear from saying who are the better ones, etc. I think that I can give you the entire list, and that's not a problem. It comes down to you as the employer as to how are you going to choose this service provider. Obviously, look for accreditation. Look for people that can articulate your skills needs into other programs as well. Look at high impact. You know, I was having a conversation on the other day on digital citizenship. That even within the corporate space, there are so many people that are digitally illiterate. By illiterate, meaning that there's quite a lot of technology going out there over and above your Word, PowerPoint, and how to access the internet that can make your business a little bit stronger. And we're looking at your fintechs, and we're looking at your digital plugins, and we're looking at digital platforms that can your business can interface with in a much more meaningful way. And that's the way the world is going, simpler, better, faster. So when you do choose a service provider, look for somebody that can cater for your needs, not only for today, but can have a look at your entire organization and to build something that can work for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much once again, Sean. I'm sure that after this session, you would receive an influx of inquiries and WSPs. So we really want to encourage our members from the MFSA to complete and submit the WSP. There's assistance for you. From the MFSA, we also complete and submit our WSP to get access to training and funding windows at the bank sector. So next up, we have our last presentation, but definitely not the least, Business Skills Institute. They're also a training service provider in the industry. Some of you might be familiar with them. So Glenn, I'm going to welcome you to conduct your presentation, and then we can take a few questions afterwards. Welcome, Glenn.
Thank you so much, Sinead. Thank you for this platform, and it was fantastic listening to both Sean and Israel, both as passionate as we are about education in this industry. I'm going to quickly share my screen. Just let me know if you can see it.
Yes, we can see it. Thanks, Glenn.
Let me just, sorry, did I get the right one? Let me do it again. That's right. Shit. There. We're all good.
There we go.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so the objective for this session is for us to explore training and education opportunities in the microfinance industry and how we, BSI, can assist and support the MFSA members. Business Skills Institute was founded way back in 2003. We were known then as CompuScan Academy, and we were founded to meet the specialized training needs of the microfinance sector in South Africa. Over the last 2 decades, we have evolved into a premier training provider across various industries with a significant focus on financial services. As a BE Level 1 certified organization, we offer innovative, relevant, and accredited learning solutions. BSI's long-standing excellence is evidenced by numerous accolades and industry recognition, including multiple Bankseater Skills at Work awards. Our passionate team, specializing in advanced training methodologies and business skills, ensures that both individuals and companies are equipped to confidently enhance their operational processes and services. Our history and our impact across several countries, shaping thousands of learners through various training programs, underpins our status as a leader in fostering career advancement and business success through superior education and training solutions. The following slide gives you an overview of our comprehensive suite of training programs. Our training offering is designed to cater to various essential skills in the financial and business sectors. If we take a look at the credit and microfinance skills, this is focused on responsible lending practices. This training aims to protect businesses from risk and consumers from over-indebtedness. We look at banking skills. This training is targeted at bank employers. The aim is to enhance the effectiveness of achieving business results while fostering client relationships. If you look at debt review and debt counseling skills, these are geared towards qualifying individuals as NCR registered debt counselors or upskilling employees in debt counseling processes. Very importantly, our legislation and compliance skills. These encompass gaining knowledge and understanding of legislation and regulations to ensure legal business operations. If you look at our accounting and finance skills, this training is offering accounting, bookkeeping, and financial management to ensure the use of best practices in these areas. We also have office management and administration skills. This training to effectively manage office operations according to sound business and administrative methods. Insurance skills, one of our latest training skills, are set to insurance professionals to enhance service delivery and customer protection within the legal framework. If you look at our debt collection and debt recovery skills, this is aimed at improving collection rates and employee debt recovery performance to mitigate revenue loss. Business and entrepreneur skills, these are designed to equip employees with the skills needed for a company's operational success, improving sales, profits, and client engagement. We can also look at the leadership and management skills. This training is focused on increasing the effectiveness of leaders and managers in driving business priorities while maintaining employee performance and motivation. Cybersecurity skills is a highly relevant training to provide knowledge and skills in cybersecurity, a field of growing importance. And then lastly, Microsoft Office skills focused on increasing proficiency in Microsoft Office applications to enhance workplace effectiveness. We've also recently added retail training to our offering. And if we listen to both Sean and Israel earlier on, we've covered most of what their scarce and critical skills that they highlighted. We cover them all. Talking about some success stories, we've recently had assisted 3 of our clients and procured over 3 million rands in funding for these 3 clients. Now, this funding has provided these clients with access to both accredited and non-accredited courses, which is vital for their continued growth in the microfinance industry. Let's take a closer look at how these funds have been a game changer. The funding has enabled our clients to train their employees on our invaluable all-in-one credit course and our all-in-one debt recovery courses. These courses serve as cornerstones, laying a solid foundation for credit providers to make informed and responsible decisions in their financial operations. If we look at the evolving landscape of financial regulation, our online legislation and compliance courses have been essential. Courses covering the National Credit Amendment Act, NCA Credit Life Insurance, rates and fees, affordability guidelines, and the ever-popular POPI introductory course have kept our clients ahead of the curve, ensuring they operate with utmost compliance and industry best practices. This funding has also facilitated participation in our popular skills enhancement online course series, from the essential skills for credit loan officers to the essential skills for managers and debt collectors. These courses have been instrumental in the sharpening these competencies that are critical to our clients' success. Recognizing the importance of interpersonal skills, online courses such as communications at work, negotiating skills, business etiquette, innovation, creativity, and problem solving have been crucial in fostering a well-rounded professional persona, critical to the thriving in today's business environment. And lastly, in the age of digital transformation, proficiency in tools like Microsoft Word and Excel is non-negotiable. Our Microsoft training ensures that clients are adept with these essential tools, increasing efficiency and productivity. This funding, channeling over 3 million rands into the development of professionals, represents more than just financial value. It signifies the enhanced capabilities, career progression, and the heightened service excellence of our clients. Each course funded is a stepping stone towards greater success, a testament to the transformative power of targeting training and education. In conclusion, BSI's commitment to securing funding for our clients is unwavering. We don't just see it as securing resources. We see it as fueling ambitious, driving innovation, and empowering a brighter future for the microfinance industry. Let's continue to celebrate this journey of empowerment and looking forward to forging new paths of achievements together. Why should you choose us? I think Israel and Sean have said it all. We have more than 2 decades of experience in servicing the credit and banking and financial service industry. We focus on quality, range of training, delivery methodologies and platforms, and our qualified and expert training practitioners. We have the ability to deliver training nationally and abroad, and our proven track record of results and experience speak for themselves. So now I don't know if I can't see if anyone's asking questions. I know that Cindy's also available, and hopefully she's typing furiously in the chat bar if there are any questions.
Yes, thank you so much, Glenn. Cindy has attended to the question. So BSI does have FICA training available. The MFSA will also, in partnership with BSI, host a FICA compliance workshop in the month of May. So please look out for that communication. I don't see any additional questions, Glenn. Let me see here. Yes. No additional questions. You're welcome to post them in the chat now. I think what Glenn highlighted is that the NCA and POPI and FICA compliance training is extremely important. I'm going to post in the chat box the requirements of the National Credit Act training. It's in chapter 5 of the NCA. And it's basically a compliance requirement. You have to look at these types of courses and training for your staff. Let me see, I don't see any additional questions. So thank you so much to BSI and Israel Noko from MPI Consulting and Sean Starr once again for the insightful presentations. Q&As, I think we handled everything. So Chantal is going to post a link in the chat box to complete our survey. Please submit your details, your contact details. If you want any of these individuals to contact you directly, we will share the information with them. But from the MFSA side, thank you so much for attending this session. And we really hope that we can see an increase in WSP submissions this year so that you can train your staff and keep your business at a professional level. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and that concludes our session for today. We hope that you enjoyed it, and we will see you next week for a BE compliance info session. Have a lovely day. Thank you all. Goodbye.
Thank you, everybody.